Welcome, class. This will be the introduction for your first assignment. Demonstrate 6 of 12 principles of animation. Of the 12 principles of animation. You guys probably are already familiar with them. Most likely, Patricia covered it in your Animation 1 class. If you took it at IVC, probably did. Also, if you haven't taken an animation class in a while, this will be a good assignment for you to kind of get your feet wet, get back into Maya, start clicking on stuff, start messing around with stuff. On the screen are the 12 principles of animation. It should be, I encourage you guys to go over all this stuff, look at it, absorb it, read about stuff, Google it, just Google the 12 principles of animation, tons of stuff comes up about it. Where it came from. Most animation teachers, most professional animators are all familiar with it, and they kind of use it as the foundation that we build all of our other tricks and tips and tutorials off of. So it's really good to be familiar with this stuff. I really like this video here. It's just called The Illusion of Life. That's the book that originally came out with the 12 principles of animation. It originally was developed by Disney, because Disney was the first people to really study the art of animation from way back in 1920 and all that. So definitely do some research, get used to it, figure out how it all works. I'm gonna turn down. My daughter's watching children's videos. So yeah, read through the description when it's due. It should be about a week assignment. It shouldn't take you guys too long, but it'll give you time to get used to uploading stuff into Canvas, and I have to also get used to doing the online class stuff. So next Monday, so the 21st of January, this stuff, try and turn in progress on everything so I can kind of look it over and give you some feedback. And we want to be done with this thing by the 25th. Don't turn it in late. Turn it in early for sure, and then don't worry about it and start working on other stuff. I'm going to give you another assignment before the 25th, so if you finish this one quick, you can jump on the next thing, and then the assignments will be increasingly more challenging. So I provided a bunch of my own examples of sort of what I'm looking for from you guys, the level of simplicity, the simpler the better. If you get the point across, that's what I want to see. I want to be impressed by how simple you were able to tell the story of that principle of animation. Also, if you want to go into it and have fun with stuff, go for it. You'll see that I did kind of the same thing. I ended up doing 10 examples. There was a couple I couldn't think of. Squash and stretch is super simple. I just, you want to push the volume around, but you want to push the object around, but don't lose the volume. So as it stretches up, it gets thinner, and it stretches down. It squashes, it gets fatter. Real simple. Anticipation, I kind of build up like a rocket, something's going on. What's happening? Oh, it launched off screen. Anticipation. Pretty fun, pretty simple. Arcs, I couldn't really come up with a really good example other than just doing an arc, which I was I want something more interesting to show the class. What happens a lot in animation is people will be in IK and they'll be standing there and they'll put 2 keys down and they'll key the hand here and then they'll key the hand here, and it ends up going like this and looking super unnatural. But if you did it in FK, it would have a nice, cool little arc going on. So you can keep it in IK if you really want to, but you have to make sure the keys make the hand go like this, because that's a much more natural move. And that's why I just made an example on the video that's up of and then I showed there's a motion trails button. If you haven't seen it, it's in this video. I'll post all these videos on YouTube so you can watch them specifically, individually, and see everything that I was doing if you run into the same thing, or if you want to just copy my example. Also, feel free to just straight copy my stuff, just redo it, and just change the camera angle or do something that makes me know if you actually did it and not just showing me the same video again. Not that I'm worried about it, just, you know, throw your own little flair personality on there. So in Maya, on the animation tab, I'll full screen it. There's a button called Motion Trails, and it just draws the path that the object goes down. It can be very, very helpful when you're polishing stuff. I'm sure I'll show you guys that more later on. This one is pose to pose. So far as pose to pose and straight ahead, and it's kind of the different styles of animating. So in the first example on pose to pose, I just did a bouncy ball. I just did all the ups and the down poses, and then I went into the curves, edited the curves, and I ended up with a bouncy ball. Pretty simple. If you guys haven't done that, do it again. If you've done it before, do it again. It's fun. It doesn't take too long. It's a good test. In this one, I was having trouble figuring out what to show. There's probably better ways to do this. I just went into each frame individually, one frame at a time, moved the box up, and then I went into each frame individually, moving the box down. I changed the timing on if you go into animation preferences, if you want to change the playback speed, you see in the bottom right corner of Maya, you'll see me grab it in the video. You can set your frame rate to 12, and then you only have to animate every 12 frames. It makes the animation more stiff, more like how Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse looks, but it makes it a lot easier to animate. What's up, Sally? So yeah, that was straight ahead, and then I went in afterwards. I edited the curves just to get it to look right. Follow through and overlap. In this example, I just built 2 joints and I skinned the box using Maya's default skinning. If you don't know how to skin, you can Google it, or you can just watch this video slower. I added some edges to the box, that way I can move it around. You can see me like editing the box. Super simple. You can even grab a rig. There's like a juice box free rig online, and then I just slid the box and I added some overlap and follow through kind of deal. So you'll see the box drag behind, and then when it stops it kind of settles, and then I noodle with the curves a bit to get it looking cool. So that's just the end result, overlap and follow through. Feel free to do this. This is a fun experiment. Which one is this one? Slow in and out linear curves. In my example, I was showing that you can key on the same keyframe in Maya, and you can through linear curves or slow in, slow out curves, you get a lot different results. On like the cube that's nearest to us is a slow out, so it starts moving slowly. The next cube close to us is a fast out, and then there's a really slow out and a snap in on the third cube, and then the last cube I think isn't a smooth all the way through. No, it snaps in at the end. But it's just an example of like you can get a lot of different results using the exact same timing. Secondary action. Secondary action is like typically you'll see, I think the more standard secondary action is you'll have like there's that rig that is around where there's just a sphere, and then there's a ponytail on the sphere, and then when the ponytail moves, the hair kind of secondary reacts and it follows behind, you know? It's like just something on the thing. I'm acting out secondary reaction. So I want to do something different, show a different kind of example, so I just made a little box that can hold a sphere. And then I moved the box, and then I animated the sphere like the box is like how the box would influence the sphere. Kept it kind of simple. And you can see the box moves and it hits the sphere, and then it bounces. And so when the box first starts moving, the sphere moves just a little, and then when the sphere hits the edge of the box, it accelerates quickly, and then each time it hits the box, it slows down more significantly. It's a good example of secondary action. If you're doing something like that and it's not feeling right, go to like find some reference, and that would just be like a pool table. Just hit two pool balls together and see what the difference is between your animation and what's happening in the real world. What's cool nowadays, you can just take your cell phone and take reference of whatever you're trying to fake, and then figure out what the difference between your animation and what's going on there. Oh, cool! You found a ball. Sally brought me this. This is Sphero. You could do it at home. You know, hit two things together, see what happens. Okay, go ahead, Sally. You want to do it in the video? We'll do it next time, okay? We're getting almost to the end. Two more. This was me having a little bit of fun, going a little more into it. This was me, timing-wise, I wanted to show how things can feel like they have different weight just by shifting the timing around, where like the far rectangle falls over really fast and looks light, and then the middle one falls over slower, looks heavier, and then the other one falls slowly. It almost doesn't feel realistic. But I imagine if it was like a giant skyscraper or something, that's more like what it would look like, except it would crumble at the end. It was feeling weird when I was working on it, so I added the spheres slamming into it. And then I was messing around with curves and stuff. I'll put this video online if you want to see it. And you might have done this test already in Animation01, where the curves kind of decrease over time to get a sense of. Oh, this was me adding bounce to the thing. That's what it was. Is it? Huh? Oh, this was like the first half of me. Yeah, so that video starts with what I did first to show timing, and then I went and made hold on, one sec, I got this. Oh, I just named some of my videos wrong. And then I went and was like, I'm gonna make this cooler. So at the end of this, I added some bounce to the cubes, for some like extra fun. Where the one on the one on the right, because it's bouncing a bunch, feels like rubbery, and then the middle one feels probably more of a realistic, like whatever thing would fall over it would bounce, and then the big one doesn't bounce at all, like it's a super heavy object. So that was a fun little like physics animation principles experiment I did. And then this one was I was originally wanting to show exaggeration, so I originally animated both spheres kind of bouncing.
Here go.
Oh, thank you, Sally. Then I wanted to exaggerate one sphere and show like the contrast between a realistic sphere and a exaggerated sphere. So on the exaggerated one, I'm pushing the scale around, and you'd see that more in like 2D animation more often. You usually don't see that in the real world too often. That's this very specific type of ball that'll bounce that way. Also wanted to point out on the realistic sphere, I did put a little bit of squash on there that it's only on for one frame, so you don't really see it, but it helps the ball weight feel a lot stronger. So you'll see me put it in the video pretty let's see if I can find a shot of it. Here we go. That's me adding just a small amount of squash to the ball. That way it feels like it's end stretch. That way it feels kind of cool and bouncy. So I listed this one as appeal as well, because I think okay, Sally, almost done with the video. Because the Stretchy ball, I think, has a lot more appeal. It looks a lot cooler, looks funner. I could watch it more often and be more entertained. So that's just something to consider when you're animating. Yeah, I think that's all my examples. Okay, that's sort of it. So you guys got to come up with 6 of them. You can be as complicated or as simple as you want. You got to pace yourself. You got to get back into Maya. You got to upload stuff to Canvas. And let me know if you have any questions. I know this stuff can get kind of complicated. Sometimes Maya can get real frustrating. That's why I'm saying for this assignment, just stick with as simple rigs as possible.
Daddy.
Hold on, Sally. Almost done. Yeah, so good luck with everything. Send me an email or message me. My Skype contact and my email will be up on Canvas. Alright, take it easy.